Welcome back to day 3 of your breathing basics. My name is Hannah and I'm a breath facilitator trained by Oxygen Advantage and Alan Dolan, the breath guru. Day 1 we looked at awareness. So how is our breath flowing and moving? How are we breathing? How does it feel? How does it shift and change throughout the day? And how does bringing my awareness to it help me then shift and change my state of being as I go through my day? Day 2 was all about the nose, where we spoke about the benefits of nasal breathing, and I gave you a nose clearing exercise and encouraged you to continue breathing through your nose as often as you can, both day and night. Day 3 today, we're going to be looking at the diaphragm. The diaphragm is our main breathing muscle that does 70 to 80% of the work, and it's really important to start engaging with it. So let's begin. To increase the strength and use of our diaphragm, we need to use our nose and breathe low into the lungs. When we breathe into our upper chest, generally through our mouth, we're using a short and shallow breath, which is often fast. This actually reduces oxygen uptake and speeds up our heart rate and tells our nervous system that we are in a fight or flight situation. This will naturally increase our heart rate and our breaths per minute. When we breathe through our nose, expanding our belly and our ribs, we naturally start to engage our diaphragm. The Bottega Clinic states that our upper chest muscles, our secondary respiratory muscles, use 25% oxygen, whereas our diaphragm, like the heart, is a very strong muscle that doesn't need to rest and only uses 2% of oxygen. They also state that the diaphragm may be our muscle of respiration, but it's more than breath. It has an impact on all major physiological systems: posture, circulation, immune function, digestion, emotional regulation. The list is long. Before we try connecting to our diaphragm, let's do a diaphragm release. Our diaphragm is a sheet of muscle connected all the way around the bottom of our ribs onto our spine. And when there's lack of movement within our spine or our ribs, this can create tension on the diaphragm and make it tight, which then in turn makes it harder to use when we're breathing. So this is just a short exercise that you can do to start releasing the diaphragm. All I want you to do is to take your fingers to your infrasternal angle, so it's where the ribs meet. Gently come in to this position, not in the center, just off to the side, and start to bring your fingers under your ribs. And you can stay in one place and hold and breathe as you release some of the tension. You can also slide them down the ribs, coming all the way down to the edge, all the way to where you can, gently pressing in. There's no need to press too much or too heavy. It doesn't need to be really sore when you release it. Just find a little bit of pressure, a little bit of tension. Breathe into that area as you simply try to release. This is also really good if you place some oil on your fingers and just go straight onto your skin and give yourself a bit of a massage down the ribs underneath to get to the diaphragm. And take a few breaths as you hold in that position. Good, and then release. So that's something you can do whenever you like. It's just a nice way, like I said, to start trying to release your diaphragm. So now that we've started to release our diaphragm, let's start to connect our nose to our diaphragm as we breathe. This is another exercise you can use to start understanding where your diaphragm is and how it engages with your breath and also how it moves. When we breathe in, our diaphragm flattens out. And as we breathe out, it comes back up into a dome shape. So if you interlace your fingers like this is your diaphragm sitting up in between the ribs. As you breathe in, it flattens out. The ribs will naturally start to open as the diaphragm flattens. As you breathe out, the diaphragm comes back up and the ribs draw in. Sometimes it can be a bit difficult to kind of feel this. There's no nerves there, so we can't really feel it, but we can place our mind onto that area. And we're going to start with this small exercise to see if you can feel a little bit of movement. So what we're going to do is take an inhale through the nose, exhale out of the nose, pinch, and then you take a false inhale. So I'll pinch my nose and try to breathe in as I'm holding my nose. I'll demonstrate for you. So as I breathed in, I felt my diaphragm move down a bit because it was a false inhale. So try it with me. Take a breath in, breathe out, pinch, and again, just take a breath in and out. Let's try one more together. So breathing in, breathe out, pinch, and hopefully as you breathed in, you felt a little bit of movement down here from the diaphragm. Sometimes it feels like the chest is rising, or it feels like the diaphragm's rising, but actually it's just the chest having a little movement up as that pressure pulls the diaphragm down. So now let's give it a go. Sit comfortably again or lie down. And as always, if you want to close your eyes, please close down your eyes. Now, as you're breathing in and out through your nose, I want you to focus your attention onto your diaphragm. So onto the area where we released and the area where you perhaps felt the diaphragm move down as you breathed in. And as you breathe, see if you can visualize the diaphragm moving with you. So it's moving down as you breathe in. It's moving up as you breathe out. Now gently place your hands on your lower ribs. As you breathe in and feel the diaphragm move down, see if your lower ribs open. Notice if they move back as you breathe out. If your ribs are opening and closing, then your diaphragm is moving. We're just not sure how much, but you can tell by how wide your ribs are going. I don't want you to force anything. I just want you to notice the ribs opening and closing. And now bring your hands to your belly with the palm just slightly touching the lower ribs. And again, as you breathe, notice if your belly pushes out into your hands as the lower ribs open. Keep trying to keep your attention and focus on the diaphragm, feeling it move down or sensing it move down and up as you breathe in and out. Feeling that belly expand. Feeling the ribs gently open and the hands be pushed away. Good, and then just release your hands. Gently blink your eyes open. Great, now that you've connected your nose to your diaphragm, your belly and your ribs, breathing low into the lungs, your diaphragm will slowly start to strengthen, your breath slow down, and your oxygen exchange increase. Again, I encourage you to keep trying to connect with that muscle as you breathe in and out. So using your hands as a way to notice your rib expansion and your belly rising is a really good indicator as to whether that is actually happening. So as you're breathing, place your hands on these areas again. Notice the ribs opening and closing. Notice the belly open and close. Just take a few minutes out of your day from time to time just to become aware again, to see if you've actually got that movement happening as you breathe. Thank you for joining me for day 3. I hope you've enjoyed it and learnt something else about your breath, and I look forward to seeing you for day 4.